Hearing none, I have a motion to approve the agenda. Move to approve the agenda. I'll second that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass 3-0. Okay.
We
I want you to be so
actually-
looking down there.
There we go.
I don't think we had anybody signed up for community comments.
Does anybody in the hinterlands like to comment today?
You have one. There you go.
Hearing none.
Oh, no, it's just a bit of fun, so
Oh,
they're,
Okay.
They're on the.
they're on the little bit back.
Yeah.
Okay. now-
All right, ladies. Everybody.
Play and play. Oh, Daniel.
Christie, you can just have a seat by that side if you want. You're next on the agenda.
I had to run back, but very important letters.
This is a special meeting for an old guy who loves music in this town, and a supporter of folk festival, and is so excited about what the things folk are doing at middle school. Krista, you're up, and tell us about this is Folk Fest presents.
So I'm here to give you just a little bit of an overview. I've never heard, and I know that you're familiar with what we do, but perhaps some of the other board members are not. And so I wanted to give a little bit of history, background, and sort of where we would like to see our partnership go into the future. And
I pause for just a minute.
Sure.
Your title is Executive Director of the Sisters Folk Festival. Somebody here. that doesn't
Executive
know.
Director of SFF Presents, which is
Oh,
our
okay.
new name
New name,
as of about.
can't teach an old dog new tricks.
That speaks to just how much our programming has grown
Okay,
from beyond just that one festival. So
okay,
I've
good.
been in my position since July of 2019, so it's been 6 years now.
Oh.
And I did not create this partnership. It was created by those who came before me, but I have worked really hard to try and grow, expand, and honor the work that they did. So we're really just thrilled, and we think that how we work with the sister school district just really highlights the power that is that can happen between a nonprofit and public collaboration. And as Melissa will tell you a little bit later, many of the things that we are able to accomplish together are within the other school districts. And she hears that a lot more than I do, and she gets out and about. So basically, in the past, we built the foundation, and this was long before I was here. In the early 2000s, we began the Americana project at Sisters High School, which was essentially a curriculum revolving around Americana roots music, teaching kids to play guitar. There were a lot of performance opportunities, which helped build confidence in those kids. And that is still going. It looks a little different today, which I will get into a little bit later. I'm not going to go into, I have these handouts and I've got enough for each one of you. So I'm not going to go into every single thing. I don't want to take up all your time. They're the ones with the good stuff. So, and then there were some milestones from there. In 2005, the Lutheran program began. It wasn't just the folk festival that made that happen. It's my understanding that the Roundhouse Foundation helped the block with that. But essentially, the folk festival did help provide some of the technology, software, and equipment to get that program going. And so to this day, SFF students are building beautiful handmade heirloom quality guitars. And for a while, they were building ukuleles as well. And now with the second teacher, Jason Chinchan, after Tony Cosby retired. So it's going strong, and we are still helping provide some funding for them. And then in 2014 to 2019, we did the 5-year Studio School grant, and that was a partnership with the school district, folk festival through the Oregon Cultural Community Foundation. And it was about $290,000, and it allowed us to do all kinds of arts and music programming. Schools purchase keyboard labs, iPad labs, buy a lot of instruments here. And what really stuck was funding from that grant helped hire a visual arts teacher at the elementary school and middle school. And actually paid for their salaries for a few years, but then they were transitioned into district positions. In 2015, we started awarding scholarships to graduating seniors who grow. And last year we awarded $20,000 in scholarships, and this year will be $25,000. So we are really looking to grow that. 2017, we started a middle school strings program, not with Melissa, with a previous teacher. And in 2021, that the middle school strings evolved into what is now the outlaw strings program. With Melissa's leadership, 20 plus students were arriving at 7:30 a.m. before the school day because they were so fired up to play fiddle. And that year we also started the after school creativity club for middle school. And one thing I'd like to point out about those, which is that's not in here, is that those clubs are barrier free, meaning the Folk Festival SFF Presents pays the salaries of the teachers. We provide instruments for the kids, we buy supplies, so there's no fee for any of the kids. That's very important to us, that there is no economic barrier to participation. That brings us to the present day, in which we are building on these successes. So today our partnership continues to thrive. We have ongoing programs and initiatives. We are focusing on enhancing the educational environment and making sure that all students have equal access to those opportunities. So we have in September, right before Folk Festival, we had assemblies in all 3 of the schools, which is really fun, not just for the students, but for the staff as well. And we pay the fees, we pay the production costs, we bring in, a sound engineer to each school. And that was really fun. We work with the music teachers at each school to schedule those. And it's a nice way to kick off the school year. The Creativity Club is going strong. It provides a safe haven after school for kids to just hang out in the art room. They can create art, they can talk, and work out problems, whatever they have, whatever they need to do. Outlaw Strings expanded. I'm going to turn it over to Melissa, and she can tell you more about that. But the really exciting thing is that expanded into the high school this year as the first class of middle schoolers moved up. And they now have their own band within Outlaw Strings called Scandalous Chutney. And I have some flyers here for you. They're going to be doing a dance at the Belfry Community Dance on Friday, February 28th. And this is open to the entire community. It's a co-production with C4C, SFF Presents, and Outlaw Strings. It'll be a fundraiser. The kids will be playing the music. They're going to have a caller. And it's going to be a really fun way to bring the community together. And the first of what we hope is a string piece of us. And that brings us to our hopes for the future, our vision and goals for the next 1 to 2 years. Immediately, I met with Ellie Vita, who is the elementary musical teacher, and she made a request for us to create 20 baritone ukuleles for the elementary school. We will be doing. There's a reason for that. They're tuned more closely to a guitar. And so it's going to be very easy for the kids to transition into middle school and learn to play guitar rather than learning a whole new tuning. So that's part of that sequential learning that we're trying to also facilitate. We will be working with with Joan at the elementary school and Ellie to establish an after-school ukulele club on Fridays, we hope, which will provide some much needed childcare for some of the folks that work until 5 and don't have a place for their kids to go. And on the same day, she would like to do an elementary school choir, bring that back as an extracurricular club. So the Folk Festival would pay for that. Again, no barriers to participation. And we have a meeting set up right now where we're bringing all but one of the music and art teachers together for over a casual dinner on February 26th to do nothing but just talk about these are the things we're doing in our classroom. These are the things that it would be really helpful to, just see what happens, ideas that grew, and strengthening that collaboration between all of those teachers. And we are expanding our opportunities this summer of our creativity clubs for the kids to continue what they're doing in the school year with the fiddle art in 2026 with ukulele instruction. So we have 11 camp sessions planned this year. We do pay what you can pricing for those. So again, trying to eliminate barriers to participation. And as the programs in the schools grow, we will then continue that on into the summer. So just long-term objectives are to increase student achievement, to close achievement gaps, which music and art certainly helps with. So we're trying to do our part there, enhancing the teacher networking and just building stronger ties within the community between all the stakeholders. And we really value this partnership with you, and we look forward to continuing. In time, I'm going to hand these out to you. Does anyone have any questions? Right, do that.
Questions, comments, you know, I'm a huge supporter of the folk festival and have been from day one. You guys are so lucky to live in a town with the kind of support we have for music and a whole variety of things. But certainly the folk festival and Melissa have done an amazing job to create opportunities for you that kids in other schools don't have. And the financial support and the breadth of activities that you make available for our kids. It is wonderful to live in this community and see all of those wonderful things that happen for our kids. They don't happen in lots of other places.
It's kind of a cycle that builds because we get a lot of support from the community because of these good things, and it's just this positive feedback loop. And so we're kind of the conduit for that support. We like to funnel it into you guys.
Yeah. Pretty special, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I would like to introduce our outlaw strings leader extraordinaire.
Well, we had hoped to have a live performance for you, and we talked about it. We really wanted to do it all together, and I had fingers crossed that a basketball game would maybe be snowed out today, but they, against all odds, went and played at Warm Springs. So we've got wrestling happening right now, and basketball and swimming. So what we did yesterday is during club, we recorded our latest tune collab set. And then I brought this amazing crew to answer questions and just type in their 2 cents. And then I've got a little full Outlaw Strings report when we're done watching. So. We've got 44 students in Outlet Strings right now, grades 5 through 12, I guess. And that, what you just saw was one of 4 cohorts that meet now Monday through Friday, every morning. We've got beginner fiddle at the middle school. We've got continuing fiddle at the middle school, which you just saw. We've got after school on Mondays and Wednesdays, high school continuing fiddle now with some new students who just started this year in Americana, which was an amazing opportunity. And on Fridays, we have our dance band who is getting ready for this event that has been 4 years in the making, and we are so excited. And as you can see, this crew, I'm so proud of them because they're now playing without me. I'm like backing them up on guitar and they're staying together and they're transitioning tunes, which is really hard. And that second tune that they just played is not a beginner tune at all. And they learned both of those tunes since we were back to school in January. So really, really fun stuff. But what I wanted to talk about is this is not the first time that I've started a fiddle club. I started one when we were overseas in Korea, and I started one when I was teaching in Redmond. And it never really took off. And now I think I understand that there was one piece of a trifecta, and I was missing the other 2 pieces. Because I was just as enthusiastic and passionate about it then as I was now. But what we have in our school district is we have this amazing school district and the school board and superintendent, and especially 3 principals who have enthusiastically said yes to crazy ideas and the next layer and the next step. And it's really, really unbelievable. And we also have the folk festival who is like, you have a kid who can't go to camp, we can help. Oh, like a fiddle was donated, but it's all broken and needs to be fixed, we can help. So it's these 3 things together that are creating something I think really unique and really special. And I think I'm still finding out how special and unique it is. We're going to Wintergrass in 2 weeks with 25 students. And last year when we presented to the school board, we hadn't gone to Wintergrass yet. So we went to Wintergrass and it's a really cool festival. It's kind of like as if the Sisters Folk Festival moved indoors to like a giant hotel and the venues were all these different ballrooms. So you are indoors, you lose the magic of that outdoor thing, but it's really fun. But all day Thursday and all day Friday, they have this youth education program that's awesome. So we came in there last year with 23 students and they had this little program and they actually had to hire more teachers because of the numbers that we brought. And staff members and the education department and all these parents were like, this is a public school grad program, like what? And it was really amazing. And a bunch of people pulled me aside and said, how can I start this where I live? And I was like, well, that's a really loaded question. I don't know that you can, because I have a folk festival. I'm in the sister school district. And it was special enough that a week after Wintergrass was over, the head of the youth education department called me up and said, hey, I want you to know that people in Bellevue, Washington are having conversations about how we can support what's happening in Sister Trek. And I was like, what? That is so cool. And they have just looped us in on everything and said, how can we make it better? How can we make it serve like your group so that this kind of keeps, how do we kind of infect the rest of the world? Which is, I feel like step 1 in fiddle world domination, which is always been the goal. So that's been amazing and super special. We've got the dance band coming up and I hope you will come to that. One of the things that I want to mention about the dance band is one of the things that we've noticed about Outlast Strings that it does start to become a financial burden on families, just as students who have siblings in the program both want to go to Wintergrass, or a student in the program that wants to go to Wintergrass and then summer camp. So this is an opportunity for a really cool fundraiser that can help those kids go to camps and experiences, and then they come back and they bring a better dance band back to Sisters, and we just built this awesome thing together, which is really, really cool. But I'm super proud of them because one of the last times we met, they voted to create a +1 student in their fundraising, because they were like, we're creating this fundraising opportunity. We want to give a scholarship. Like we want to give a Scandalous Chutney scholarship to an up and coming student in Outlaw Strings who's maybe not part of Scandalous Chutney. And I thought that was really, really cool, just recognizing how much we've been given and this incredible kind of opportunity. So I'm going to let you ask these guys some questions, and we're looking forward into what it could be in the future and asking questions on how we can take this special thing. We're communicating with the other two great fiddle pods in Oregon, which are Ashland and LeGrand, and forming a mighty alliance with those two programs as well, which are not as cool as our alliance, as well as our program. One of the things that I think has been come to my attention in the last couple months is I've had 3 parents come up to me and said, this has kind of filled a niche for their high achieving student because of how much of a struggle it is. Because playing the fiddle is really, really hard. And we talk about that a lot. I especially see it in my beginner fiddlers when these are kids that tend to be really, really good at school. And all of a sudden we're learning a tune and I can just see the frustration build. And it's like, everyone put your fiddle down for a second. Let's talk about the feeling. And instead of being frustrated or angry right now, if you can find that moment to use this to connect to other people, you're going to get to math or English or academic class in a couple hours, and there's going to be someone next to you that's going to be struggling. And instead of being that kid who's like, so easy, what's your problem? You can be the person who rubs them on the shoulder and says, man, I know exactly what you're feeling because I felt exactly the same way 2 hours ago. Like, how can I help explain this in a better way for you or whatnot? So we're trying to lean into that idea of like struggle and make it productive, but also feel gratitude in the moment for when we feel that way. So I've had 3 parents come back and be like, thank you for that struggle piece. Like, thank you for giving my high flyer a chance to kind of like not be awesome at something right out of the gate because it takes a lot of work. So does anybody need to add any questions for this crew?
Yeah, also hear like name, grade, how long have you been in the club? At least to start.
I'm Katie,
I think this is our third.
I'm Augustus, I'm in 7th grade, I'm just actually in 2nd grade.
My name is Maya. I'm in 7th grade and this is my 3rd year.
My name's Lane, I'm in 7th grade, and this is also my 2nd year at the club.
So it starts because of the middle school. So now do the 5th graders now, can they still go on, or is it like mostly now like 6th and up?
Right now, it's 6th, 7th, and 8th, and then we got to kind of include fiddle in trimester 1 of Americana, which kicked off a bunch of high schoolers that joined the current 9th graders that kind of came up from the original 2021 year. So that's given us a kind of a nice infusion into the high school continuing fiddle group that kind of meets after school. Because there's so much music. We've got jazz choir, we've got jazz band in the morning. So.
Have any of you young people been to Wintergrass before? So you know that they're just people hanging around in the halls all day and all night, way after I go to bed, for sure. And they're just people playing all the time there. It's so cool.
It's amazing.
Yeah, it is an amazing place. And people who love making music together and find kids half as old as some of you are, playing well. It's really fun. You see guys as old as I am and 5-year-old kids making music together. Pretty darn cool.
There was a moment last year, I was so proud of this crew. There was one of the things we do is we stop and like listen to different genres and we talk about like what a player is doing to tell us what tradition that's coming from. And we focused on like 5 over the last couple of years. And we were going down the hallway and this crew stopped and they were like, is that a Kevapah jam? Like, and we're like, we stopped and we listened and I was like, how would you know? And they're like, it's a Kevapah jam. So they went up with it, they got their fiddles out and they ran up and they were like, can we play in the jam with you? And they pitched a Kevapah tune, not an old timey tune, not an American, which would have been completely inappropriate for that jam. And those players were from Quebec and they were so excited that again, a bunch of American middle schoolers were like, joined their jam appropriately and asked to play the right tune. So I was it was good fiddle etiquette and I was very proud of it.
I have one little bit harder question to fit. I want to understand, what does this program mean to you?
It's giving us a chance to practice and something to actually.
I really like this program because like you come in before school, and there's this amazing community where people like joke with each other and play music together, and it's just amazing.
I love Fiddle Club because it's like, it's a friendly environment and everyone's just always willing to learn something new. And like, definitely like learn a new instrument is pretty cool and like adding on to like my musical abilities is pretty fun.
Personally, I love Fiddle Club because the communities are amazing and it just builds bonds between people. And personally, personally for me, it just makes me a happier person. Thanks.
Is it more fun than wrestling? Oh. I know Lane from a different part of his life. So it's fun. Any other questions here? Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for providing this opportunity.
There we go. Okay, you are excused. Sherry, you're up.
You can have it be after you get that.
There we go.
Okay.
I get out from schools very often, not because they don't want to, it's hard sometimes, I love that.
I probably want to try.
Do that.
Yeah.
Anyway, financial part of things. There's not much to report. We are cruising along right about where I would expect us to be. Our expenditures are a little bit lower in the general fund than you would expect from their year. But I think that is because we moved not a lot, at least a couple of FTE, we received more money in our investment account. So we were able to move some out of the general fund into that account. I think that's will rise in expenditures down a little bit, so. We have a special. See, can't see with the mom, I can't see with the mom.
I don't want this to be a can of worms, and I don't want it to look a big thing, but I'm just like. It's more, I'm just looking more of a yes or no, and then we can talk about it. I'm just wondering, like, Oregon get federal funding and then does that trickle down, how they get served, like, I'm just high level.
We get federal funds, federal Title II funds,
Title I.
we get small Title III, we don't get a lot of Title III, which is our EL program. But we get Title I, students in poverty, Title II, professional development. So we do get some federal funds.
Some of the like grants or things, right?
Yeah, so it'll just depend on.
Okay.
In this budget season, right, there's some folks are saying we should, they might eliminate Title II completely, which is professional development money. And that they might see a 25% reduction in Title I. Not sure, still yet to be seen whether they can,
Yeah,
whether they can completely dismantle the Department of Education, right? So we're kind of not trying to panic and just listen and pay attention and see what, I mean, every state gets those monies,
Yeah.
right? So it's something that'll be impactful, not just for us, but across the nation, so, we'll wait and see.
okay.
Yeah.
The best.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
I try not to get in a panic in the meantime.
That's right.
I think the initial, upon hearing it, the initial thing was to just go in, oh no, what are we gonna do? But think about it, it's like, they can't just cut it off.
But even if they do, like you can't plan for something you don't
No.
know, so it's like until we have information, like there's no use in spinning our wheels like that.
And some organizations like Head Start, they froze the budgets, they froze the spending portal, so they can't really access funds. So they're they're having some difficulties because most of it, I mean, it's pretty much all federally funded, so paying people is a challenge. So there are some programs that are impacted, but at this moment, for us, we're okay.
And fortunately, and not that it wouldn't hurt us, but we don't have a lot of federally funded programs except our nutrition. That should be. Yeah.
A real quick question, student investment account, where are the funds for that?
It's in the special revenue fund. I don't report on them during budget season, you'll see those.
Okay.
And I am happy to do a report and bring it to you next board meeting.
And big picture,
Yeah.
those funds come from the corporate tax that was passed. That's the money.
That's where I was.
That's what you're getting at. Okay, gotcha.
Okay, cool, no, that, and that's administered by the state then, they do. Okay, cool, and so then that just led to the shifting of the news. Okay, cool, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Stay dry.
Move on to administrative reports. Joan is obviously
Joe's
has a
out.
good sense.
No, she's actually got a family thing, so she's out unfortunately with an emergency, so she's not within the building today as well, so she gets a pass in that regard, so we'll go on to Lorna's jumping right out.
Okay,
I'm excited.
there we go. I'm excited too.
So something really big has happened, and I've intentionally been quiet because we could have two big things happen. But I just wanted to just kind of fill you guys in on where we are in the process. But Sisters Middle School was awarded, first time through the process, they got their ramp certification. So if you guys remember, what we were talking about, it's a recognized ASCA school program. So it's been a 3-year process. There's been so much work involved in collecting data, creating programming. This is a national award. We are still in the running with our Sisters Elementary School application. So we could potentially have 2 schools who are ramp certified. Our elementary school application, we got enough points to do a resubmission, and most of the applications fall into the category of having enough points if you do some edits that you can cross the bar. So we are still in the running. The date to resubmit is February 10th. So we're giving the application back, ready to submit. And so we should know before the next board meeting whether or not both schools made it to rank certification, which is it's a pretty big deal. And what's important, just to remind you about getting certified to become a grant certified school. So it's recognizing that you really have an elite program of counseling, that it's awarded by the American School Counselor Association, and it just recognizes schools with exceptional data-driven counseling programs. So it's not just kind of a scattershot of what the counselors are doing. It's very strategic, it's very data-driven, and it's very systematic. So we're looking at where is the need, and then what intervention can we create to fix the need, and then so it's a continuous cycle of improvement based on data.
Wasn't it last year, was it Kate that came and presented on
Okay, and
tracking the time in class, and
Yeah.
that's part of this process.
it tracks, where they're spending their time, does that align with all of the ASCA national standards, and how are we serving our kids, and what data do we have to show that the counseling program is making progress? It also just demonstrates our commitment to a comprehensive school counseling program. It assures that our counselors are working within the national standards of their own profession. It really helps improve student achievement, behavior, emotional well-being. If you guys remember, I think there was a couple of board meetings where we talked about counselors really serve 3 different domains. And it is the student achievement, behavior, and emotional well-being. So it's not just, checking in with kids about how they're doing. It's actually 3 different strategic targets. And it really helps strengthen our school community relationships. And again, it's data-driven. So it's not just a one and done, so it's a continuous cycle of improvement. So now that our counselors are trained up, we can kind of review the cycle every year about like, what is the data telling us? What
what do we need, what do we need to implement, what interventions, and then how are we gonna track the data? What we planned, the plan that we made, did it work? So it's a continuous cycle of improvement. And here's this multi-tiered, multi-domain, kind of a mouthful. I think I presented this 2 or 3 times. So this is really like, kind of like the roadmap for the counselors. So if you look at the bottom, the 3 domains that they're working in is academic, college and career, and then social and emotional. And then that green area would be targeted, like interventions with everybody, like what does every student get? And then tier 2 would be those small groups, like how are they delivering small groups? And then the red tier would be like our tier 3, so that would be like individual counseling, referral to extra services. So really they're working within all of those domains and all of those tiers within the comprehensive school counseling program. So it's a lot more in-depth than initially that you would imagine. So it impacts student learning, getting kids ready to learn, getting them where they need, getting the help that they need, and then making sure that all of their needs are met. This is pretty cool. This just, I think, is a huge indicator of how difficult this is to get a ramp, recognized ramp award. So in Oregon right now, there's 7 schools that have been awarded ramp status. That's it in the whole state of Oregon, just 7.
These are school buildings, they're not districts.
These are school buildings.
Yes.
Within the entire state of Oregon. So the difficulty level to get actually awarded ramp certification is extremely difficult. I would equate it to writing probably a PhD. It's like defending your thesis. It's really difficult. But if you can click on the current ramp schools nationwide, this will give you another perspective of just how difficult it is. So you can so the blue states where there are no schools that are ramp certified. So if you just click like around the Pacific Northwest, like, okay, Oregon's got 7 schools, Washington only has 5. California is a big ramp state. They put a lot of effort into their school counseling programs, but like Idaho has 1, Montana has 1. So comparatively, Sister School District could potentially have 2 schools that are ramp certified.
And would be the only school district in Oregon.
That has more than 1. I
Yeah.
think we would probably be the only school district in the entire United States that has more than 1 school within a school district.
I think that Utah only has 1. I mean, there's so many kids in Utah.
Well, there are kids.
They're building elementary schools faster than they can build anything else, and the fact that they only have 1 and then we're.
Well, this is,
So that's like really interesting.
yeah, these are buildings that have gone through the ASPA national model, right?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
within those standards, and then they have aligned their data with all of the standards and then submitted a ramp application.
There's a lot down in the south.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So that just kind of gives you a perspective on the difficulty level. Yeah,
like 67.
Well, the population is nice too. I mean,
right.
Georgia, one of the districts is 109,000 students. I mean, that's not that's not Fulton County either. That's Cobb County. It's a
Yeah.
very massive district. there.
Yeah, there's really.
Oh, yeah.
So I think this is just a testament of how hard our school counselors have worked over the last 3 years. There's been a lot of training, there's been a lot of extra time working on the grant applications and aligning our strategic plan with our data. So it has been a great investment, so. So back to our. So just thinking about, what's next? So we're still waiting on the notification for Sisters Elementary, and again, we'll probably know before the next board meeting. Regardless, we're still gonna celebrate, the work that the elementary school has done. And so the next step there, we're gonna attend the national award ceremony in July, at the ASPA National Convention. So hopefully both of our counselors can receive their national. So, yeah. So that's it for student services.
It strikes me that the Nuggets would be interested in the good work you're doing.
They were asking, I had heard that they were asking questions, and I've been a little quiet about, just, like promoting it right now until I have all the pieces yet. So
Okay.
we're still waiting to see whether or not where we're at with the elementary school, because there's a really good possibility that both schools are in. And I feel like at that point, I would reach out to them.
Okay.
And let them know, that we're celebrating.
Is there a reason that both schools have been, or, well, one has been successful and the other is very close? Is there a close collaboration between? The schools?
Absolutely, there's
Why it's able to get around and
It's-
places?
really interesting because more than anything, it's been on like technicalities of grammar. So, and not so much on, like our data is good, our process is good, and it's very, very microscopically tedious, evaluation. So, yeah. It's it's been enlightening because I don't feel like it's been reflective of the quality of work that we're doing. It's more on the minutia of the English language. Yeah.
We'll have the APA guidebook.
There you go. Yeah, I feel confident. We're on track. So, yeah, and we've got some feedback, some specialists who have looked at our application. So, yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, that's super exciting.
Yeah, it is. very exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a 3-year process, but we did it. All right.
Thank you.
Somebody's
When you
saying-
gentlemen want to step forward?
Oh, wait.
I don't have a lot to present, maybe more of a Q&A, but I know that part of the board packet is the district report card. The middle school gets a report card. It's not included in there, I don't think. Is that correct? It's not in the board packet. So one of the things I'll highlight, a bright spot on the middle school report card. If you want to see it, I can get copies for you, but, one of the things that we worked hard at is trying to build our attendance at the middle school, coming back from COVID. And so since 2020, just really trying to build programs and build structures in place, whether it's a fiddle club, whether it's counseling programs, whether it's co-curricular programs, to make kids hopefully want to be at school. We had a 9% increase in our regular attenders. Those are the people that are attending more than 90% from the year prior. So from 23, 24, we're up 9%, which put us at 82%, and the Oregon average was 66%. So not quite 20% above the Oregon average, but close. I tried to find a middle school in Central Oregon that was kind of comparable to Sisters, and one that I looked at was Pacific Crest in Bend, which is a great high achieving middle school. They were at 67% from last year. So again, being
I'm
in
sorry, which one? On,
Pacific Crest
yeah, and on which?
for regular attendance.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
So that's a huge bright spot from our report card. And I just wanted to share that with you. All across the board, whether it's language arts, math, science, class size, we're above the state average in every single category. Is there room for improvement? Heck yeah. But I just wanted to share a couple of the bright spots with you to start. See if there's any questions.
I would point out, which is interesting, is the state uses the smarter balance assessment, which is what this state data is comes from. And if if indeed the Department of Education goes away, there would be no reason to do smart balance testing. So there's some interesting dynamics, and again, the state has said, yes, we're gonna do that, but everyone can opt out and it doesn't matter. And for us, again, going back to the old data, if you're not above 95%, if you're not 95 or above, the percentage you are below that goes against your scores. So you actually get docked points for not.
For kids who don't take it, they said that they didn't pass it, even though they just didn't take it. And some of our high flyers choose not to take it.
Yeah.
Why? Because they can't.
Yeah, and they don't want to spend 3 hours on the test until they do. So it's an interesting dynamic right now.
Yeah.
With what we've said for a long time, and I think you guys will probably agree that have seen the iReady data, that's more impactful information for us and how we do our work than typically what comes out.
Yeah, I'll echo, our teachers look at the iReady data often, I would say monthly. As opposed to this, we look at once a year at the end of it from the year past, when there's really not much you can do rather than evaluate kind of massive, big picture curriculum, instructional frameworks. We really use the iReady data to look at what's happening month to month, trimester to trimester to make changes on the fly with the kids that are in the seats. And it's been meaningful.
I did a really quick question with the reporting thing, the Senate bill, do you have any context for that, or is that just something, a boilerplate that's added in the report card? Make it the very, very bottom.
So are you talking about like the school goals and state goals, and
Just that,
you're looking at the district
Like the-
report card, correct?
oh, yeah, sorry.
That's okay, I'll bring it up. I have it too.
I'm sorry,
And which part are you referring to?
very bottom, just like footer.
Oh, yeah, starting in 20 Senate bill. right?
Yeah, I assumed this was like a boilerplate footer, but I just was curious.
You know what? I have to click up in that Senate bill to truly answer your question
Yeah,
well.
that's
More students are now included in state level rates.
Yeah, it was just like an awkwardly stated, surprise awkwardly stated. Just curious.
Yeah, I'll let me dig at that one. If I tried to answer it, I would be making some assumptions.
Yeah, no follow needed. I was curious.
I think it's that it used to be students could test in their grade level if they tested at a different grade level like if they're an IEP instead of the first grade level, oftentimes they would take the benchmark at that level. So I think that's got away with those accommodations. I think there's a lot of bills that have come through. I don't have to double check, but it seems like that's what it is. And maybe our folks are moving it, I haven't figured it out.
What Senate bill was it? What number? 923.
Yeah.
And Tim, with, you mentioned the before and after school programs as being sort of key factors in helping drive 9% increases. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
What, are there other things that you're sort of attributing to why we're seeing more middle schoolers sort of opt in?
I think that we work really hard as a district now to help belonging and creating the space for every single kid, and I know at the middle school we're doing a part of that. To have a safe space, I think one of the things that's unique about schools, and you probably know this, is that your teaching staff, you try to have as diverse of a staff as you can, so that every kid finds a staff member that they can connect to. I know we worked hard at the middle school to have that type of variety of humans, so that every single kid connects with somebody. As you saw those 5 kids connect deeply with Ms. Stolaz. There's people that try to connect with our math teachers, with our language arts teachers, and I think that that's one of the missions of our school.
I think your advisory doing some of the club programs has helped. I think there's, that's the key, is trying to find the thing to connect the kid to the school.
We have an advisory period come along where we have multiple grades in the same class to try to build mentorships. We've also created a house system in our school where they compete. Our next big competition is a lip syncs, which at first when we brought it on, I'm like, I don't know if else going to do this. And they really have taken off with it. It's like one of the most fun assemblies they come to. So I'll try to remember
The
sending you.
8th graders are getting very competitive.
Yes.
I can only just speak to the 7th and 8th graders, but
So little things like that.
very
yeah,
exciting.